The Brisbane Broncos are 5-3 after beating the Canterbury Bulldogs 32-12 on Friday night, as the Bulldogs remain winless in Queensland since 2024, and the Broncos' win streak over this sorry franchise extends to 5 games. This is a bit of a Tigers game part 2. It followed a lot of the same blueprint. The Broncos defended multiple sets on their own line early, stopped a few try attempts, then struck immediately when they had the ball in field position. 18 straight tackles by the Broncos on their own line. Last week it was 19, but at least there was some sting in the Tigers' attack. They had to deal with multiple options. The Dogs just have nothing. Oh no, Lachlan Galvin has the ball. What's he going to do? Pass to Jacob Preston? Watch out, Matt Burton's running and Stephen Crichton's got the ball. Is he going to pass? Nope. The middles were so impressive in this game. Ben Tolti in his first starting spot in the NRL was incredible. He made an equal game high 44 tackles and ran 114 metres. Then Jack Gosiewski made 42 tackles in his 45 minutes with only 1 miss. Coming into this game, I thought that Tolti could definitely do it, and I hoped that Gosiewski would, so I was very happy to see him holding his own out in the middle. But I'm bearing the lead here. Xavier Willison has another incredible game. He plays 75 minutes at lock, runs 170 metres, 58 of them post-contact with a line break, 4 tackle breaks, a try, and 33 tackles. Congratulations, Xavier. You're never coming off the bench again. Willison is the future of the Broncos forward pack. For a guy who's been around a while, he's still only 23. And while it's not going to be possible to replace Hakeem Haas's production next season, Willison is as close as they're going to get, and that's not half bad. The Broncos' defense has been very strong on both edges all season, and despite Ricky and Staggs both playing on one foot, the guys out there are all first-choice selections, so it's no surprise that they remained impenetrable in this game. The forward pack they were able to cobble together for this one did an excellent job as well. I want to compare a few plays to show the difference between the two teams, because the Broncos are not just defending champions, they're entering elite territory, and the Dogs have a reputation of being a good defensive team, and I think that's wrong. This is 13 minutes into the game. Dogs have had the bulk of the possession. At this stage, about 70% of it. And on fourth tackle, they want to go from edge to edge after a good run by Kickout. So they activate passing, starting with teeth or toes Turpin. They go from Burton to Salmon to Galvin. Galvin does a good job of engaging the line, and Willison has to commit. Then Ezra commits to Preston. So now Tracy has the ball with a 2-on-3. All this space behind the defenders and 18 meters to figure out how to get one over the line. He passes to Crichton before Sheba's forced to make a decision. And when Tracy passes, Sheba fully commits to Crichton. He's not interested in doing anything but tackling his son, Stephen. And Karapani is sitting on Crichton's line, tempting the pass, ready to put Montoya out of bounds if he needs to. And Crichton just runs into 2 defenders and gets taken out anyway. Sheba and Karapani just work so well in tandem. You can tell that they trust each other, and the false hope that they must give teams to think that there's space out wide, but really it's just Karapani's acceleration zone. Now, the Dogs could have done things differently, like Tracy could have waited to pass until Sheba had committed, or Montoya could have stayed out wide so that Karapani couldn't cover him and Crichton, but I don't think too many guys are willing to run directly at Sheba at the moment, and I'm not sure Montoya knows where the sideline is. The Broncos ran a more compacted outplay later in the half for their second try, and if I freeze it right here, you might think, hey, the Dogs are actually well matched here. That's 3-on-3. Wait a minute, Ezra just passed the ball off screen. It's 4-on-3 and Karapani is off. This was tackle 3 after a penalty for a high shot. Connor Tracy does not enter the frame until Karapani is crossing the line. And I didn't have the advantage of being at the game, so maybe something was up, but that is the first time that he entered the screen in the entire. But wouldn't he be alert to the fact that the Broncos had stacked both halves on the same side of the field, and also Montoya was nowhere near his man? Someone get this man a map and tell him he's supposed to be marking up against the guy in the pink boots. In attack, Karapani does the opposite kind of positioning to defense. He's always right up on his wing, right where he's supposed to be, and the Dogs aren't aware that they need to stretch their defense, and there's no communication. They get done for numbers in regular. This was before Hughes was sent off for 10, which was a classic rugby league penalty. Sure, there's a million cameras at the ground, but surely no one is going to look at what happens to the halfback that just kicked the ball. Throw a leg out, who's going to know? I asked some similar questions of the Dogs' defense for the Broncos' first try, as in, does Montoya know who his man is and where he's supposed to be? But another question, what is with the complete lack of urgency from Tracy and Crichton? Why are they jogging? And sure, they're having to react in the moment to Willison standing in the tackle and getting the offload away, which he does very well to do, but they do nothing to help themselves in the second play, and it's all ticker from Sheba staying in the play, and somehow he's first to the ball when Montoya completely whiffs it. Air balls go to the offense, baby. And now that I've convinced you that their left edge is no good, let's check in on the right edge, because here's an improvement. They know how to identify where the Broncos winger is. In fact, 5 of them do, and none of them are quick enough to stop Mariner in full flight. What a put down. What a pass by Hayes Perham as well. He played a great game. Staggs, Ricky and Mariner were all threats here, and Perham played it perfectly. I would also like to ask Bronson Cherry, what are you doing here? Do you really think Preston Ricky is a run threat here? I suppose he could be if Reynolds somehow learned how to pass through Willison's body. Anyway, Connor Tracy's not only in frame, but running across the field and contesting the attempt. Well done, Connor. But Mariner's just too good. 3-on-1 in the corner, and he's on his feet celebrating before any of the Dogs players are on their feet. The confidence at this point in the game was at its absolute peak, and it's infectious. Preston Ricky came on and ran like he'd played as many games as his brother before getting himself sent off for a tackle that was very much, oh, come on, what was that for? The old shoulder to the head. VJ Semu came on not long after him and just started whacking dudes, but also it's confidence in the system. The third fullback in the depth chart is trusted with the final pass and he puts it on a dime for the superstar to hit terminal velocity. Everyone's rolling at that point. Katoni is laughing at the fact that Bronson Cherry would try to put a hit on him. Burton gets caught in the ruck and they're 3-on-2 with Perham, Ricky and Mariner on the short side, and the Dogs seem surprised that they'd go there, and it's another excellent read by Perham to get Ricky away. And then a great ball from Ricky, another great game by started the season sans headgear because his cauliflower ear had then went for the black headgear against Parra and that didn't work, but it wasn't until he started wearing the white headgear that things really clicked for him again this season. He's been one of their best the last few weeks. He ran for 140 meters and made 39 tackles in this one, and I don't know if he's making a pass like that last year. That's pretty special. So no, babe, the white headgear stays on during Broncos games. Great to see Paik score a try given how well he's played since they started winning again. He's another in the club of played 2 of his worst games for a long time at the start of the season, and you have to remember Katoni was in there too. He's been out of sight since defensively, and tactically, he pushes the short side play and finishes it. Great stuff, and a great pass by Mariner too. Maybe Dogs fans could take some solace from the fact that Galvin was the only one chasing from the other side of the field, showing a bit of spirit at least. 20-0 half-time, but we've got to come back to Galvin because it's time for Ezra's try, which starts with Stephen Crichton being stuck behind the ruck on tackle 2. So you know what that means. Correct, Marcelo Montoya is out of position against Josiah Karapine, and Ezra Mam knows that means go time. Lockie Galvin does a pretty good job to make a play on the pass back inside, but the Broncos have everything on their side. They're full of confidence, the crowd's backing them. They want to carry on with the point they've proven in the first half, so Ezra shows off that he's learned how to float now. Only a blade of grass in it before he takes off, and to be honest, Ezra should be the poster child for bad first 2 weeks, excellent after. He's especially stepped up in Walsh's absence and has now scored 3 tries and recorded 8 try assists in his last 5 games. That's 1 less try assist than Cleary over the same period. Rest of the game, I kind of don't care about the 2 tries they conceded. I was mad about them at the time, but the first was scored after a knock-on by Tracy Wynn. Then the other when the Bulldogs actually did something other than Galvin to Preston or Galvin Grubber. There's some variation to this attack. Watch out, everyone else. Other highlights of the second half include the worst challenge of all time by the Dogs, a curse on Jacob Preston for the rest of his life for an egregious flop. You will be ringless your entire life for that, Jacob. And a really bad tackle by Matt Burton. I don't think there's any intention behind it other than going for the strip. It just got to a point where he lost control of where his and Katoni's bodies were going and it went wrong. It looked real bad. But the game ended with a play that I think I've seen before. Ezra Mam hits his back row with a short ball who scores through the momentum of his run and undercuts Connor Tracy in the process. A really fitting tribute to one of my favourite tries from last season and a deserved reward for Xavier Willison stepping up the last 2 games. I don't tend to give out tips to opposing teams in these videos, but maybe try anyone else at fullback Calvin Serraldo. Great game by the Broncos, and because I presented it through the lens of mostly how much I hate the Dogs, I didn't even mention that Adam Reynolds had another masterclass off the boot. Off the toe, not the tee. But the way that they played, it's not just that the starters played well, which they did, but that the bench guys and the call-up guys and the train and trial guys all excelled. Josh Rogers, great again. Is this man just a hooker now? Jaden Hunt was good too. There has to be a way to keep Hayes Perham in this team, but I'm afraid that there's no. Broncos don't get out of this game unscathed. Brendan Piakura suffered a grade 2 MCL and will miss a few weeks. And I guess Gashevsky goes into cover, but after the way he played in this game, maybe he's just another addition to the played real bad in the first 2 weeks group and there's nothing to worry about. Ticker Gutless Index, it's all ticker all the time, baby. The defending champs have ticker now. I can't believe the life I'm living. Then 3-2-1, I have to give Willison the 3 points. He was unstoppable. Then 3 try assists and a try. I think Mam has to get 2. And even though Mam was the strike, Reynolds was the one steering them around. He gets the 1 point. All right, Broncos will leave Queensland for only the 2nd time and play on a Saturday night again, gross, next week. Talking about it later.
Oh, well, that's blocked.